So it looks like New York City's political scene is about to get even crazier than normal, if that's even possible. Mayor Eric Adams, as of right now, is the first sitting mayor of New York to face criminal charges. Is it all just political retaliation, or is there something more sinister at play? We're getting into these allegations, the fallout, and the bigger story behind the headlines. Now, this is a federal indictment, and knowing the Biden regime for the last 4 years, I can safely assume that this is lawfare, political payback for Mayor Adams being critical of the Biden regime's open border immigration policy. I mean, that's what regimes do. They silence anyone who comes out against them, and they do it not just to punish the people who dare to stand up to their bully tactics, but to send a message to anyone else across the country who will complain about the 18 to 20 million illegal aliens that this worthless un-American regime has allowed into the country to roam God knows where. We're going to talk about what led to this moment in time, and we'll see if this is straight up lawfare by the DC communists or if there's something more at play. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Please subscribe and smack that like button because it helps us with the algorithm. Also, we're doing a live stream tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there. So, the big news out of New York City right now is Mayor Eric Adams is facing a federal indictment. It is for bribery and wire fraud. Yeah, that's right. A sitting mayor in New York City will have to turn himself in soon to face lawfare. It gets better. What's Adams being accused of? Well, how about the greatest hits list of political scandals? Allegations of influence peddling and misuse of office for personal gain. Like I said, the official charges in the indictment are bribery and wire fraud. The federal district court in Manhattan has just announced that Adams must appear at noon tomorrow before a federal magistrate judge, Catherine Parker, for an arraignment. He will formally be informed of his rights and will presumably enter a plea of not guilty. He's a former New York City police officer, guys. Now, I don't like his politics at all, but I hate lawfare even worse. For the past few months, the FBI has been on the move, raiding homes of people in his administration, including the new interim police chief. And this all led to some eyebrow-raising resignations in his administration. It's all unraveling, guys. Now, of course, Adams isn't going down without a fight. He's firing back at the federal government, claiming they're targeting him because of his political views. Where have we heard that before? Well, here is Mayor Adams yesterday responding to the leaked heads up of him being indicted. Give it a watch.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target.
Welcome to what Donald Trump has been going through since the escalator ride.
A target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
You better hope you don't go before Judge Merchan.
If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief.
And that's why he's in trouble with the DC bandits.
I put the people of New York before party and politics.
He actually did, guys. In the beginning, he was blaming Abbott, Governor Abbott, for sending the tens of thousands of illegals that were overrunning his border towns to New York because New York bragged that it was the sanctuary city.
Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation.
Well, Trump actually made America great again while he was dealing with Russia, and 2 impeachments and all the other bullshit that this guy's party threw at him.
But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you, and God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
So he said, I have always known that standing my ground for the people of New York would make me a target. Yeah, that's the classic, I'm being persecuted for my beliefs defense. We've all heard this song before, right? Except now that it's happening to Democrats, oh my God, what are we going to do about this lawfare? I think Eric Adams has an incredible opportunity right now to be a stand-up politician in defending himself by pointing out what the Biden regime has actually done to his city. And I'm not talking about the hundreds of thousands of illegals shipped to a city. That's just the beginning of the story, guys. I'm talking about how there are literally over 100,000 illegals taking up half the space in New York's hotels. And it's not just New Yorkers who are paying those hotel bills. That's right. A lot of federal dollars are going to this so that they go to New York and the New York government has to pay for the hotels. It's your federal dollars that are paying for a lot of this. I'm sure that the mayor and his administration would rather tourists stay in those hotel rooms. You know, people who come to the city to see a show or to dine out with friends and they spend their hard-earned cash that actually helps the city. Instead, they have half their hotels filled with people who do not belong here, who are causing all kinds of problems and mayhem, whether they do it intentionally or not, because the city's resources, like in every other blue city that's been destroyed by the Biden regime's incompetence at the border, talking about you, Kamala, they are also being eaten up by the sheer magnitude of third world paupers that the Biden regime and the Democratic Party are allowing all for power to stay here. The plan is that those bodies, those 18 to 20 million illegals, will be counted in the next census. And that will bring blue states back their congressional seats that they lost because so many people moved out of their states to find the freedom of red states. That, and they want them to vote as well. Here's a short clip of what we are facing as a nation with illegals potentially voting in 2024 thanks to the incompetence of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
1.5 million non-citizens could cast their ballot in the 2024 election, according to the Only Citizens Vote Coalition. So let's break that down by the 7 key battleground states. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, 787,000 non-citizens could vote in Georgia, 726 in North Carolina, 611,000 in Arizona, 500,000 in Pennsylvania, 271,000 in Michigan, 258,000 in Nevada, and 129,000 in Wisconsin. In total, that is 3.3 million voting age non-citizens who could vote in the 2024 election in these 7 key battleground states.
Are you starting to understand why the Biden regime has brought in so many illegals? It's all for power, guys. All right, a little background. So Adams and the Biden regime have been having a little tiff. Well, actually, it's a full-blown feud. Over what? Well, illegal immigration of all things. Now, remember, Adams was once the proud defender of New York's sanctuary city status. Remember when he was all open arms for migrants? I remember when he was running for mayor, he campaigned on making New York City an even stronger sanctuary city. He did. Don't forget, those were the days that pretty much all Democrat politicians were suffering from TDS level 7, which is the highest known recorded level of the dreaded syndrome. And then, thanks to the Biden administration's failure to enforce our immigration laws at our southern border, Texas towns along the border were getting overrun by hundreds of thousands of illegals that had no business being there. They didn't have the money or resources that a New York City has. So if you remember, Texas Governor Greg Abbott started sending busloads of them to New York City, basically saying, okay, Eric, you can have them. And it didn't take long for Adams to start calling for stricter border controls. I mean, you got to love politics. Flip-flopping is practically a sport with these people. At first, Adams blamed Governor Abbott of Texas, but then the world started reminding him that Democrats running blue cities all became sanctuary cities as a big middle finger to then President Donald Trump, who was trying to get control of our southern border and force people to come into the country legally. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term lawfare, it's when the legal system is used to go after your political opponents. Some folks are saying Adams' public spats with the Biden administration have put a target on his back. Now, could that be just a coincidence, or are we looking at political payback here? I believe it's the latter, because we've already lived through what this Biden regime has done using lawfare against Donald Trump, a totally innocent man, where in each of the 4 cases filed against him, the prosecutors and judges had to go outside the boundaries of due process inside our judicial system in order to prosecute him. That is lawfare, guys. Have the feds done the same thing to Eric Adams? I guess we'll soon find out. And let's not forget the chaos this is causing in New York. Adams was already skating on thin ice with voters over the migrant thing. Hotels packed. Social services are stretched to the limits, and the city is barely holding on. People are angry, and his critics are basically like, hey, you and your party created this mess. Could this be the tipping point where Democrats even start to turn on him? Or will they have the strength to stand up to the D.C. cabal and, like Adams, say, enough is enough? Adams' shift from progressive ideals to tougher immigration policies is more than just a personal pivot. It might be a sign of a deeper rift within the Democratic Party itself. Is Adams leading the way, or is he just one disgruntled outlier that the Biden regime is piling on? What gets me is there are people out there pointing out that this is in fact lawfare and saying that it's not right. And they are the same jackasses who said that Donald Trump's lawfare was legitimate Justice Department law enforcement. Either way, whether this indictment is about rooting out corruption or simply political punishment for not being a good little obedient servant of the cabal in D.C., the stakes are sky high. The whole nation will be watching to see what happens next. Will Adams survive this political storm, or is his career about to crash and burn? We'll keep you informed as this story unfolds. All right. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with what the Democrats are doing when they eat their own with lawfare. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.
Lately I've been going through some hard stuff. Getting knocked down, getting right back up. Only mistake I made was thinking you would have my back, but it's one-way track. That's right, no